Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we are going to tackle something huge, a concept that I'm willing to bet could flip everything you've ever been taught about money completely on its head. It's called the Great Asset Lie. Okay, it all kicks off with this really controversial statement from Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, this one goes against everything your parents, your teachers, financial gurus have probably ever told you. It sounds totally nuts, right? But what if he's actually right? So, to really get this, we've got to throw out all the complicated financial jargon, all those textbook definitions. We need to learn a new language. And you know what? It's way, way simpler than you think. See, according to the experts, becoming financially literate has nothing to do with fancy formulas or complicated spreadsheets. Nope. It all boils down to just 6 words. 6 simple words. If you can master these, you can master the entire game. So, what are they? Well, the first 4 are probably familiar: income, expense, asset, and liability. We've all heard them. But the real secret, the absolute engine that drives everything, is in those last 2 words: cash flow. Because get this, it's mastering your cash flow, not just having a big salary, that's the real key to building wealth. Forget everything else you've ever heard. It really is this simple. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. That is the only definition that truly matters. It's all about which way the money is flowing. And once that clicks, I'm telling you, you'll start seeing the world in a whole new light. You'll see these patterns everywhere, how money moves in completely different ways for different people. So you know what? Let's break down the 3 big ones. Okay, first up, let's look at the most basic pattern. And honestly, this is the financial reality for a whole lot of people. And this pattern, well, it's a tough one. Money comes in from a job, right? But then, whoosh, it flows right back out again. Rent, food, taxes, the basics. It leaves almost nothing left over. It's like you're on a financial treadmill, just trying to keep up. All right, now let's move on to the middle class. The pattern starts out pretty much the same, but then there's a huge twist that changes the whole picture. And that twist? They start buying things they think are assets, but are actually liabilities. And boom, here it is. This is the perfect example of why that house you live in isn't an asset, from a pure cash flow standpoint anyway. Your paycheck comes in, but then it gets eaten up by the mortgage, the property taxes, the insurance, the repairs. All of it is money flowing out of your pocket. It's a constant drain. So, what about the rich? How do they do it? Well, here's the secret. They're not just playing the middle-class game better or working harder at it. No way. They are playing a completely different game. They flip the entire script. Their focus is laser sharp on one thing and one thing only: buying assets, things that actually generate income for them. So the cash flows to them, into their pockets. And what do they do with that cash? They buy more assets. It becomes this incredible, powerful wealth-building machine. Okay, but this whole idea of liabilities, these things that just suck cash out of your life, it goes so much deeper than a house or a car payment. It can get really, really personal. And honestly, if you ignore this next part, the financial hit can be absolutely devastating. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, and maybe a little uncomfortable. What if your biggest potential liabilities aren't things at all? What if they're people? The very people you love the most. Just take a look at this number for a second: $18,000. And no, that's not for a luxury car or some dream vacation. That is the potential cost for long-term care for just one aging parent per month. Yeah. As our loved ones get older, their needs can become a massive, massive financial liability. It's what Kiyosaki pretty controversially calls 2-legged liabilities. And look, if you're thinking, well, we have savings for that, whether it's your savings or theirs, this next number is a huge wake-up call. Yeah, get this. On average, a person will burn through 80%, 80, of their entire life savings in just their final 2 years of life. And it's almost all due to medical costs. That nest egg you spent decades building, it can just vanish if you're not ready for these hidden liabilities. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's not just about don't buy this or buy that. The real shift has to happen up here in your head. It's about moving away from just earning and saving and toward a mindset of building and controlling cash flow. And to do that, you need one very specific skill. We're talking about financial IQ. And no, this has nothing to do with your grades in school or how many degrees you have. True financial intelligence is simply this: your ability to control where your money goes. It's the skill of actively, consciously pushing money into your asset column and keeping it out of the liability column over and over and over again. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Just for this week, as you're going about your day, really look at your life. Ask yourself, with every dollar you spend, where is my cash actually flowing? Is it flowing away from me into liabilities that will never come back? Or am I pointing it toward assets, things that will send even more cash back my way? Because honestly, the answer to that one question, that's the key. That's what will determine your entire financial future.